Everybody, I'm Dr. Jackie Priestley Moody, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today on Let's Talk About It. It's great to be in touch with you again. We're right near the holidays, so happy holidays to you. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Those of you who celebrate Hanukkah, I hope you had a wonderful Hanukkah with your families. We're just so excited to be here. I have a gentleman today who is not only a guest and a friend, but he's a longtime brother in Christ, Captain Paul Cheek. And you are a captain of
City Long Beach Fire Department.
City
Been
Long-
there about 38 years.
That's amazing. And Firehouse what?
19.
Firehouse 19. Where exactly is that for those of us who are local?
It's over by the Long Beach Airport, backside of Skylinks Golf Course.
Okay.
Vet Stadium.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
right where that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I have to tell you, when I was a little girl, when I was in kindergarten, I don't know if they still do this for kids, but we had a policeman come and talk to us about safety and crossing
Yeah.
the street. And then we had a firefighter come, and a couple firefighters came, and they had the big red truck. I was enthralled by the firefighters. The big gear
Yeah.
that you guys wear, and the axes and the hoses and all the,
Yeah.
and then of course we got to go out and look at the fire truck. So I've always just really had a special affection for firefighters and fire
Good.
departments, and how hard,
Yeah.
crazy hard you guys work
Yeah.
when you're on call, when that bell rings.
Time
just-
to go to work. Yep.
Time to go to work, and you run toward things that everybody else runs away
That's right.
from.
That's right.
As a wild way to make a living. And I kind of have always had it in my heart. I think that God designates people. He puts a quality in them that being a firefighter is a calling. And from what I've seen, the dedication and the camaraderie and the brotherhood and everything that's there, it's like police officers have that.
Right.
And then, warriors, those that are in the military service have it too.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a special calling of courage
Right.
that a lot of us in the general public, we don't have that. And you guys are really heroes for stepping up to the plate and
I don't
doing.
know. We're pretty humble. That's for
Well,
darn sure.
it's remarkable to me. So today we were going to talk about fire safety, and it's the holidays, a lot of celebrating, a lot of decorating in the home, lots of candles, and
Yes.
lots of cooking. People who take on giant meals and, let's do
Right.
the turkey this way, even though we've never done it before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were talking about ways to be smart in your home. And so we're going to talk about equipment, things that you can think ahead of. I have an instant personally, and I know you've got stories and things that you've seen in different kinds of calls, fires in homes. But I remember when my dad got Alzheimer's, and he went from being a teaching professor at 2 different universities to slowly his mind was just leaving him.
Right.
And we saw it before it started to get really bad. We were all having Christmas and just small family gathering. And he was always very neat with paper and ribbons and things and wanted everything. And he suddenly became like a little child. And when he would be done opening something or having the tissue paper, instead of putting it in the box next to him, he would toss it to my mother right over 5 candles that were burning.
Right.
And that stuff could have gone up like magician paper,
Right.
And the first time he did it, I thought, what on earth? The second time he did it, I thought, something's not right. And I went over and sat next to him.
Yeah.
So that's something to keep your eye open, especially if you have elderly people in the home and you've got candles, or you've got toddlers and you've got candles. Be aware.
Yes.
In a nanosecond, something that you weren't expecting could happen.
Yeah.
So it's really, I think it's important to think preventatively, to assess a room where there's a gathering, to assess and think, if you want to call it paranoia, if that's how you choose to look at it, great. But it's wisdom to anticipate what could go wrong with cooking, with a flame, with,
Yeah.
And I've also been known to be an absent-minded cook. And I've had a couple fires in my own kitchen. So let's talk about, in the kitchen, what are some smart ways to put out a fire quickly and not burn yourself and not have the house catch fire?
If you're frying something, try to, if you remember, have the lid and then just put the lid over it. That'll smother it and it'll go out.
That's the key thing, is a lot of people don't realize that fire needs oxygen.
Correct.
So if you put that lid on, put a mitt on quickly and then put that lid on, and it's a little scary, but get that on, it literally suffocates the flame, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because no oxygen, no fire.
Correct.
Just like that. It can't burn without air.
And you talked a little bit about your dad and the elderly folks. Where I'm stationed is Station 19, east side of Long Beach. That side of town, those people came home from World War II. They went to work at Boeing.
Yes.
And so now all those people, they're elderly, and we go on quite a few trip and falls. So when you open up your gifts, the boxes and the wrapping paper, just kind of gather it up and put it in a trash bag so it's out of the way, so that doesn't happen to those folks. Because we all know when they trip and fall, they get hurt. It takes a long time for them to get better.
Yeah, they don't heal as quickly. Yeah,
Correct.
that's really true. In our home, we had, until my dad got, so different from the Alzheimer's, he was always the one who had a box right there by his big chair that he sat in. And the rule was everything that was unwrapped got wadded up and tossed to him, and he'd put it. So everything stayed neat, and there were no tripping hazards. There was no, and small parts of things, batteries, whatever, didn't get lost in the shuffle, too.
Yeah.
But that tripping thing is really, really important.
It's important. And you talk about your kitchen. There's different classes of fires. I wrote them down. There's A, B, C, D, and K. But in the home, there's 3 specific ones, A, B, and C. Paper, your gas fires, or your hot liquids. And you can go to Home Depot and buy a fire extinguisher for $30.
Yes.
Put it underneath your sink.
Yes.
And most of you may have one, but you got to remember to change it out once a year.
Oh, is it once a year?
Get a new one.
Okay, now I have one in my home, and I thought it was like every 2 or 3 years. So I just learned something, because we have 2 fire extinguishers in our home. Our home is 1,400 square feet, so we have one toward the bedrooms, and then we have one right there in the kitchen.
I mean, you could wait 2 years, but if you think 1 year, with our procrastination, the way I am, I'll do it by 2 years. So I always kind of go 1 year.
Yeah.
And they're not very expensive. Basically, it sits, and it's got a little gauge on it, tells it when it goes down.
Yes.
You don't need to get one that you can recharge, then you got to go through an insurance company. And they're inexpensive.
Yeah.
And you can always have those in your kitchen. You make sure your smoke detectors work properly. If you hear a little chirping in the smoke detector, then it's time to change the battery. Most homes, if they've been remodeled, they're hardwired. And you should probably change that detector every 10 years.
Okay.
If it's a combination smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector, CO, then you need to change it every 7 years, they say.
Yeah.
And this is the time of year for carbon monoxide poisoning, because it's cold, it's cooler. People are heating their homes. If your heater or something malfunctions, that carbon monoxide gas could get in the house. And what's scary about carbon monoxide gas, you can't smell it. It's odorless, it's tasteless, and you get lethargic or nauseated, or you just pass out. And if you notice a family member that happens to, open the windows and the doors, and get them outside and call 911, and we'll show up and treat them.
Because it can be happening and you don't even realize it's happening, because there's no funny smell, as you said. And if you're breathing in, you won't taste it in your mouth. So there's really no clue other than suddenly there's lethargy and, oh, I'm really tired, I'm feeling out of it. And you don't feel sick. No. So it's not like a bad tired.
Yeah.
You just think, wow, I'm really run down today. And
And
you can,
if it goes off, take the family outside, whether backyard or the front porch, call 911. We'll show up. We have a gas meter, and we'll walk through your house and check it out. And so then we, sometimes we can't put our finger on it. Call the gas department. They'll come out, check things out.
because people can die from that.
Yeah,
It's very, very serious. So
Yeah.
you want to know about that.
things can happen.
And back to the fire extinguishers, because some people, I know before I'm a California fire marshal. I went through lots of training that civilians can do, and it was very exciting to me. And those hoses are no joke.
That are on the fire engine?
Yes. Those,
Yeah, they're big.
when we were first being trained, they had 3 of us hold a
Yeah.
hose, and then 2 of us. And then they said, if you think you can handle it, it can just be
Right.
one of you. And, but I know before I had that training, I was afraid of fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
They made me nervous. I thought, I'll hurt myself, I'll do it wrong, I'll make things worse. I had no confidence. So now the fire extinguishers are made so simple, you just pull a pin
Correct.
and aim and squeeze.
Aim and squeeze. That easy.
But there's a certain way to aim and squeeze.
well, most of the time, if it's a cooking fire, you just aim, squeeze, it's out. That quick. It's going to leave a mess.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
your house
but
is still standing.
Well, your cabinets didn't catch fire.
Yeah. And the other thing is sometimes people are inclined, if there's a fire, it looks and feels big and scary. So they aim at the whole thing. The thing is to aim at the base of the
base,
fire,
correct.
right?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that a lot of people don't realize is never mind about how impressive and scary it is
Yeah.
here. Aim at the base of what's fueling the fire.
Correct.
And that's what you hit. And it's better to have to spend a couple $100s to maybe fix your range
Yeah.
than your cabinets and your walls, and it's up in the roof, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you have
And
heartbreak
most
and
of the time, your
devastation.
homeowner's insurance will cover it anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
They'll come out and clean it up for you.
yeah. Now, we were talking too, you mentioned some other fires. What do we need to know about the other?
Well,
what's a K? You mentioned that.
K is that's your big restaurants. That's your big grease fires. Your
Oh, yeah.
big
Okay,
yeah. And you won't get that in the kitchen.
no,
That's big stove, and they've already got their automatic if detectors, and if
Yeah.
the flame goes up, it dumps the
Yeah.
chemical
Yeah.
on it and puts
Yeah.
it out.
Good.
And then D, as I mentioned, that's metals, magnesium, and things like that. And you won't have that
yeah.
in your.
Yeah. Now, if somebody's deciding to take on a 24-pound turkey or whatever,
Yeah.
there are different ways to do turkeys. If you have a big enough oven, obviously.
Right.
But I know that there are smokers, and then there are all kinds of other things that can create
Yeah.
big fires. So talk about those, about things to watch for, be safe about if they're doing the outdoor stuff right near the house. What
Yeah,
can go wrong? What do they need to be wise about
Right.
ahead of time? Because remember, think preventatively. Ask yourself before you light that match or you light that lighter or you whatever, stop for a second. It could make all the difference in the world. And ask yourself, what could go wrong? And what can I do to be very safety-oriented, thinking preventatively ahead of time to be ready? So,
Yeah. I think your number one thing is read the directions.
yeah.
If you've got a barbecue, a smoker, read the directions. Those are pretty darn safe. You don't see too many fires in those. The one that gets a lot of people is cooking the turkey in oil.
Yes.
So sometimes they fill the pot with too much oil, but a trick is fill the pot with water and realize how much water you put turkey in, and then the water doesn't overflow before there's a flame or anything. Now you know how much oil to put in. Put that same amount of oil in, and you should be pretty safe. But it gives you directions on how much oil you should use.
Yeah.
Also put down, whether it be a drop cloth, or some people put plywood down, so if it spills on it, it's not going to run anywhere,
Yeah.
because you don't want that oil to come down the side of the pot
Yeah.
that's being cooked in and catch the flame.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's about it.
Yeah.
If you cook in your oven, most of the time it's going to be a spill out of the pan,
Yeah.
so make sure you have enough room in the
Yeah.
pan you're cooking it in and all that stuff. Make sure you wear, and I know this goes without saying, but just make sure you wear, like she mentioned, mittens, hot things to grab it with.
And the long ones preferably. And
Yeah.
it's worth it to spend, you can get mittens for $3, you can get them for $5, and then you can get them for $10 or whatever. It's always worth it to get the longer ones and the better cushioning to protect your,
Right.
because you don't want to get a bad burn. And something about burns too for safety. A lot of people think, because great grandma said this, put butter on it or put grease on it, it'll feel better. No, no, no. What happens is when you have a burn, anything like that, lotion, Neosporin, anything with any kind of oil or grease or that kind of texture, it actually seals the skin and it drives the burn and the heat from the burn deeper into the skin and does more damage. What you want to do is get cold water on it right away and then an ice pack, because that will cool and draw the heat that's damaging the tissue out. And then 24 hours later, when the skin is completely cooled, then you can put aloe vera or whatever your doctor might suggest, but not initially. And the same is true for sunburns. So, are there any other kind of fire extinguishers that we should know about for our homes?
Not really. They're like I mentioned, you can just go to Home Depot. You can look online, Amazon, you can buy them.
Okay.
Order them on Home Depot if you want, if you don't want to go spend the time of going to the store. And a lot of you go to Home Depot, you go to Lowe's, go to Ace Hardware. Those people are pretty knowledgeable. They'll help you.
Now, what about Christmas tree safety? What kinds of, have you gotten calls to come to homes where the Christmas tree caught fire?
Yes. Yeah. They burn in a hurry. And most of the time, Christmas tree fires are the ones after Christmas that have dried out. So if you notice the pine needles are starting to drop and you could just go up and pinch it and they drop, it's time to get it outside, get it out of your house. One of the safest, when you put lights on it, use a power strip. You guys all know what that is, and plug it in there. That way, if something short circuits, the power strip will throw the fuse and the electrical wire won't catch on fire, so to speak. But if it catches fire, get out of the house. Get out of the house, get out of your apartment, because they go up in a hurry.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, it's a giant piece, whether you got a 3 foot, 5 foot, 8 foot, whatever, of kindling. And it's got the sap in it, so there's oil there, and it is just ready to burst into flames like no other. I mean, it's astonishing.
If you go to a tree lot and they want to sell you something to put water in, it's worth the extra $5 to buy it. Keep water in there. That'll help keep the tree moist a little longer, and that can add to the safety as well.
And don't you also think that the little tiny lights that don't produce heat are much safer than the bigger bulbs that you touch them and they're hot?
Sure.
That you don't want that around your
new lights
tree.
You buy today are pretty darn safe. The kind like our grandma and grandpa had.
They were very dangerous.
They were hot.
Yeah.
But, you can get new, and they're so very inexpensive.
Yeah. And never, those of you who are from the old world, my mom is a German war bride, and her family, everybody, their traditions back in those countries, they put candles, live candles on Christmas trees. And we have family stories on her side of the family of horrible fires because candles were put on the Christmas tree. Never. And also never have live candles in your children's rooms.
Yeah.
Never. And nowadays, the candles that we have in our home are live, but they're in those big Yankee jars.
Yeah.
So they're down in there, they're covered by heavy glass. I always keep the lid right there to pop on, rather than having the pretty, more decorative candles, but it's open and it can tip over. You're out of the room for 3 seconds, and there it goes,
Those things are pretty safe. Like I have a big one I burn at the fire station in the dorm.
Yeah.
It's an old station, so my dorm is musty. So I burn that. And the other day, I dropped it on the bathroom floor. That thing, I'm going, oh no, it didn't shatter.
Yeah. Because that glass is so thick and
Yeah,
sturdy.
yeah, so-
it's a safe way if you really
Right.
like the scented live candles. And I get it, I do too. But they're not as fancy and as quite as elegant, and they don't go on the stands and all that stuff that we like for those of us who are decorating people. But safety, safety, safety. I've been in a couple fires,
Yeah.
and they're terrifying. And what the general public doesn't know, and I was shocked to learn, but then I flashed back on fires and I thought, oh yeah, they double every 7 seconds.
Oh yeah, every that
Yeah,
can get.
3 to 7 seconds. So, if you have a fire that's the size of the trash can, okay, count to 7. 1, 2, and all of a sudden now it's this big. Count to 7 again, and all of a sudden half the stage is on fire.
Yeah.
It's that fast in the progression, which is
Right.
why you said if your tree catches fire, get out of the house, get
Correct.
everybody out, because
Yeah.
it's going to impact everything quickly.
Yeah, and the heat goes up, so it goes up to the ceiling, and then it'll come down. And when it comes down, what's it come down to? Your windows, which usually have curtains.
Curtains. Yeah.
And then they
Yeah.
burn. And you mentioned little kids going to fire stations. One of the things we do when we go to elementary schools, one of the reasons we wear our gear is if there is a little one in a house and we go in, they'll know, oh, that's the fireman. I'm going to go, instead of being scared, even though we
Yes.
may look like Darth Vader,
Yeah.
we can, they'll come to us instead of
Yes.
running away from
Yes.
us.
Yes.
So,
There was something I was going to, well, we'll get back to it. But we were talking about, I know, curtains. You said curtains. Don't have curtains around your sink, because some of you, instead of thinking of being quick enough to have the lid right there by a pot that's caught fire, you'll take it and you'll swing it over to the sink and start to run water on
Yeah.
it. And if you've got little drapes there that are cute and kitcheny, boom,
Yeah.
there you go. It's just,
yeah.
so you have slat blinds or whatever, or something else that no fabric. And what about that? Taking a pan that's flaming and putting it in the sink and hitting it with water.
Well, moving the
Isn't that a
flame,
no-no?
that
You're
it
moving
could
the flame.
spill,
Yeah,
catch other things on
Yeah.
fire, and then you don't want the water on the grease
yeah,
it'll splash and it'll make it go everywhere.
yeah,
So leave it on the stove,
Leave it on the
as we
stove.
mentioned. Put your glove on and put the lid on it.
Yeah.
That'll good. And then
Yeah.
you got to cook something else.
or order takeout.
Yeah.
The other thing too is for those of you who are long-haired women, when you cook, put your hair back in a ponytail. Get it out of the way. And when you change the flames, don't lean close and look. Use the length of your arms and bend and turn the flame up or down. If you've hair, it goes as fast as a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Especially if you put any kind of product, highly flammable. Your whole head is ready to burst into flames, literally. Yeah, so you really want to be, and if you have little girls and their little heads are right there, their little faces and their little heads are by the flames, and what are you cooking, Mommy? Or they turn
Yeah.
and swing that pigtail, and there it goes, right on the end.
Right.
So you want to watch for that. But you had some things, we'll get to these. What else did you have to?
Well, I was just going
I've
to
got
remind
some
you,
things too.
when you put your smoke detectors up, they go read the directions. They go in the hallways. They go in the bedroom. If you can, at night, sleep with your door closed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you smell fire or you see the smoke come under the door, don't open the door right away.
Right.
Feel the door, see if it's hot.
And how are they supposed to feel it? With the flat of their hand?
Back of the hand.
The back of the hand. And why is that?
Yeah, so you don't burn yourself.
Yeah, because this is all,
Yeah.
this is the sensitive part of the hand. This, not as much. And you need this to be able to grab things. You don't grab things this way. So if the door is hot and it's uncomfortable on the skin, so what? You've still got a healthy hand that can grab versus now you've burned your hand and you
Right.
can't reach for things quickly that are part of your safety.
Have a escape route with your family.
Yes, plan
You
for
know,
that, right?
plan Obviously, if you're upstairs, some go as far as you can even buy ladders.
Yes,
That
that
you could
hook.
throw out your window and the kids can climb down them. Or whatever it may, they make it down the stairs. You're going to meet at the tree in the front yard, that kind of thing. And go out there, and then you meet out there, and then mom or dad say, where's so-and-so? Then you could tell the fireman,
Yeah.
don't you go back in.
Yeah.
Tell the fireman to go up and grab them.
And another thing you can have is if you have the doors closed, as Paul suggested, that's protecting you if another part of the house is on fire. And then the alarms will let you know, and you feel the door like this. Don't grab the door handle. Feel the door first. If there's smoke coming under the door, throw a blanket in front of it.
Correct.
Yes?
Yes.
Block that. But then have a pot and pan, and children love this, and they love practicing the fire drills in the home. Have just a cheap pot and pan and a wooden spoon or two, and have it right there on the floor by the door, and you tell them if there's a fire, you get out through the window, but you clang and clang and clang and yell fire. Don't go out in the hallway to try to get mommy or daddy. And if everybody has that, they know that's a way,
It's very cool.
another way to, yeah.
They make these stickers. I brought a couple.
Yes.
These go on the bottom of the door. And so if there's a toddler or somebody in that bedroom, we can crawl along and we can see it. Some of them glow. I don't know if this one does. It probably does.
And it says Tot Finder. It shows
Yeah.
a little toddler, and it says Tot Finder. And the reason this goes on the bottom part of the door
Right.
is smoke rises, so the firefighters are going to look where it's clear on the bottom of the door to see. And
Get
you know
these
what?
on Amazon for $6.
And we're playing Beat the Clock all of a sudden.
Here's the other one,
So
too, that a lot of
we'll do
people
that.
do.
Let's do that in
Okay.
the next one, because
All
we're
right.
running out of time here. Paul, I want to thank you so much, Captain Paul Cheek, firefighter extraordinaire. And you have how many years under your belt of
38.
serving the community?
I should be retired.
38 years, remarkable service. And thank you for your dedication and your hard work.
It's fun.
And I want to thank all of you for watching. We're going to continue this and talk about some other things for safety and understanding how to deal with a fire if it should happen in your home. So we wish you all of the Lord's blessings. Thank you so much for watching today. I'm Jackie Priestley Moody. You've been watching Let's Talk About It. And please share this episode with friends, because we want as many people as possible to know these things for their own safety. All right. God bless you. Bye-bye.